These chosen ones didn't just change history, they changed reality. There are names we all know, people who changed the course of history, but beneath the surface of their stories lies something most don't talk about. These weren't just historical figures, they were frequency shifters, energy architects, chosen ones who didn't merely influence the past, they restructured the fabric of human reality. And the truth is, the greatest changes on this planet have never started with armies, governments, or revolutions. They've always begun with one awakened person, one soul who remembered who they were, what they carried, and what they came to ignite. When I say chosen ones, I don't just mean people who were selected by some external force. I'm talking about individuals who chose themselves, who answered a call that most people never hear and even fewer dare to follow. They didn't always look powerful on the outside. In fact, many of them were outcasts, misunderstood, even persecuted. But what made them chosen wasn't their fame or status, it was their alignment, their ability to tap into a higher stream of consciousness and act from a place that transcended time, fear, and limitation.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
You've heard the names: Buddha, Jesus, Rumi, Nikola Tesla, Joan of Arc, Harriet Tubman. Each of them altered the energetic blueprint of humanity. And what's wild is that they didn't just change the flow of ideas or events. They changed the rules of what we thought was possible. They collapsed timelines. They opened portals in collective consciousness. They didn't just speak to the people of their time. They encoded truths that would ripple into generations far beyond their own. But here's the secret that no one ever tells you. The same force that moved through them is moving through you, the same potential, the same light, the same divine code. And right now, more than ever, that code is activating in millions across the planet. That's why you felt different. That's why you felt restless. That's why you question your reality, your path, your identity. It's not confusion, it's awakening. You're not here to repeat history. You're here to restructure it. You're here to shift reality. Let's break this down. What does it mean to change reality? When a chosen one steps into full alignment with their soul, their energy begins to override the energetic laws of the collective. What most people accept as normal, scarcity, division, fear, limitation, becomes optional. They begin to operate from a different frequency, a different set of rules. And because energy is contagious, their presence begins to lift others into that same frequency. It's not about preaching, it's about being. It's about living at such a high level of truth, coherence, and love that the world around you starts to rewire itself to match you. This is what happened with the great mystics and masters. They didn't try to fit in. They didn't chase approval. They became the embodiment of something higher. And by doing so, they created a vibrational field so strong that it literally distorted the old matrix. They bent time. They healed bodies. They rewrote systems. They disrupted empires, not with swords, but with spirit. And now it's your turn. You didn't land on this earth in this time by accident. You didn't come here just to survive and pay bills and die. You came here as a frequency bearer, a torch carrier, a living blueprint. And the question you need to start asking is not, what can I do to be like them? But rather, what truth is already inside me that I've been afraid to unleash? Because the chosen ones of the past weren't superhuman. They just listened. They listened to the voice inside that said, "There's more than this." And then they acted, even when it cost them everything, especially when it cost them everything. The moment you start acting from that place, when you stop trying to be safe or liked or comfortable and instead choose to follow your inner knowing with radical faith, you begin to distort the old version of your life. You start vibrating out of relationships that no longer match you. You start seeing through illusions that once hypnotized you. You no longer play the character the world gave you. You become a creator, a conscious participant in the reprogramming of reality. And that's exactly what this time on Earth is about. We are in a massive shift. You can feel it. The systems are crumbling. The truth is rising. And the chosen ones? We're not waiting for someone else to fix it. We're not waiting for validation. We're stepping forward one by one in every country, every culture, every generation, remembering who we are, realigning with our mission, and broadcasting a new frequency into the field. So let me ask you something that only your soul can answer. What part of reality are you here to upgrade? What distortion are you here to correct? What truth are you here to anchor so fully that it becomes a living transmission through your very presence? You don't need a stage. You don't need millions of followers. You don't even need to be perfect. You just need to remember, to choose, to activate the truth you've been carrying in silence. Because when you do, the universe shifts, the timeline shifts. You become part of the new grid that is forming beneath the cracks of the old world. You become a living portal, and just like those before us, those who didn't just change history but changed reality, you begin to leave an imprint that echoes far beyond your lifetime, not because of what you said, but because of what you became. Reality benders, how chosen ones tap into higher dimensions and reshape the matrix from within. There's a moment in the spiritual journey when the veil thins, not metaphorically but energetically. It's not poetic, it's visceral. You begin to see that what we call reality isn't a fixed structure. It's a projection, a collective agreement, a shared illusion sustained by perception and belief. And the chosen ones? We were never meant to agree with it. We were born to bend it, to see through it, to reprogram it from the inside out. You don't have to look far to realize that what most people call normal is actually a deeply conditioned dream, a matrix of limitation, a system that rewards numbness and punishes awareness. A reality that teaches you to forget your power, to doubt your intuition, to outsource your truth. But chosen ones, those who are awake, energy sensitive, spiritually encoded, are wired differently, not to escape this matrix, but to rewrite it. And that begins with perception. You see, reality is not something that happens to you, it's something that responds to you. The frequency you hold, the beliefs you carry, the emotions you embody, the thoughts you energize, send out a signal. That signal attracts and organizes reality around it. Most people live unconsciously, recycling the same emotional patterns, reacting to the same triggers, and wondering why nothing changes. But chosen ones, once awakened, begin to observe the matrix. We stop reacting and start recalibrating. We realize that the outer world is a mirror, that people are reflections, that circumstances are feedback loops. And when you shift inward, the entire projection begins to shift outward. This is not positive thinking, it's quantum law. It's the awareness that your consciousness is the operating system of your reality, And when you upgrade that system, when you heal your wounds, elevate your thoughts and align with truth, you don't just feel better, you bend the grid. But here's the thing, bending reality isn't about ego. It's not about manifesting things just to prove your power. It's about alignment. When you're aligned with your soul's mission, with your highest truth, with Source itself, reality begins to obey you. Not because you're forcing it, but because you've become a vessel for divine intelligence. You're not trying to control life anymore. You're becoming one with it. And in that state, miracles aren't rare, they're normal. Let me be clear, reality bending isn't always flashy. It's not always walking on water or levitating in temples. Sometimes it's subtle. It's the moment you choose peace when chaos surrounds you. It's the instant you say no to a pattern that's defined your lineage for generations. It's the decision to follow your inner knowing, even when it makes no logical sense. In those moments, you are collapsing timelines, you are ending cycles, you are anchoring a new frequency into the field. But there's a deeper layer here most never reach. Chosen ones don't just bend reality for themselves, we do it for the collective. We carry codes, energetic imprints, frequencies, templates that activate others. Just by being in your presence, people begin to remember who they are. Just by speaking your truth, you give others permission to do the same. Just by living in alignment, you shift the vibration of entire rooms, families, communities. That's how powerful you are. That's how sacred this mission is. And yet, it's not easy, because the matrix doesn't like to be disrupted. When you start to wake up, you'll be tested. Your old life will try to pull you back. People will question you, mock you, even fear you. But that's not a sign to retreat. It's a sign that your frequency is working. It's disturbing the illusion. It's cracking open the facade. And with every crack, more light gets in. So let me ask you something only your soul can answer. What are you here to disrupt? What false beliefs, outdated systems, or invisible chains are you being called to dismantle? Not with violence, but with vibration. When you answer that question, you become dangerous to the matrix, not because you're aggressive, but because you're free. And a free, awakened soul is the most subversive force in existence. You walk differently, you speak differently, you move through life with a quiet confidence that says, I remember who I am. And when enough of us remember, the matrix can no longer sustain itself. We don't have to wait for external revolutions. The inner revolution is already happening, and the chosen ones are leading it, not with noise, but with frequency, not by preaching, but by being. We are waking up, and as we do, the illusions are crumbling. The old world is fading, a new one is coming online. One that is encoded with truth, love, sovereignty, and multidimensional awareness. You are not just here to survive this shift, you're here to guide it, to be a living example of what it means to bend reality, not by escaping it, but by redefining it from within. The blueprint within, how chosen ones unlock ancient codes hidden in their DNA and memories. There's a mystery encoded in you, something so ancient and sacred that it predates your name, your birth, even this lifetime. It's not something you were taught, it's something you remember. And if you've ever felt like you were carrying a wisdom you couldn't explain, if certain symbols, sacred texts, or spiritual truths felt instantly familiar to you without study, if you've always had a quiet knowing that you were here for something more, then you've already started to access it. The blueprint the divine code, the spiritual architecture of the chosen ones. This isn't fantasy, it's not metaphor, it's real. Science is only just beginning to catch up to what mystics have known for millennia. There is intelligence in your DNA that goes beyond biology. Your cells are not just carrying physical traits, they are carrying frequency data, memories, emotional imprints, ancestral stories, soul contracts, multi-dimensional access points. And when you awaken, when your soul begins to vibrate at a higher frequency, that dormant software starts to activate. You don't need a temple or a guru or a sacred mountain to access this. You are the temple. Your body is the portal. Your intuition is the key. And the moment you stop seeking outside of yourself and start listening, really listening to the whispers within, you begin to unlock it. A memory comes through in meditation. A dream delivers a message. A coincidence triggers a deep emotional release. These aren't random. These are codes being activated. You are remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Chosen ones carry this blueprint in a unique way. We often feel it as an inner tension, this pull between the mundane and the mystical, between the life we were handed and the life we know we're here to create. It can feel like loneliness, like being out of sync with the world. But that's because we weren't built to fit into the old matrix. We were designed to rewrite it by living from a deeper truth encoded within. There's a reason you've always been drawn to the unseen, to the stars, to the sacred, to the things others overlook. It's not just curiosity, it's recognition. Your soul remembers advanced civilizations, spiritual technologies, and timelines where humanity lived in harmony with the cosmos. You remember when the earth was a temple and love was the law. That's why this current reality feels so dense. You're not just waking up to your mission, you're grieving what we've lost. And at the same time, you're here to restore it. But make no mistake, this blueprint is not activated through wishful thinking. It requires presence, intention, alignment. You have to clear the noise to hear the signal. You must shed the false identities, the generational programming, the unconscious trauma loops that have kept your system offline. That's why healing is not a side quest, it's the gateway. Every layer you peel back brings you closer to the core frequency of your soul. And when you reach that level of authenticity, your DNA begins to broadcast a new pattern into the universe. And here's the most powerful truth. As you unlock your own blueprint, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Your healing becomes contagious. Your light becomes a map. Because when someone who has remembered walks into a room, it changes the room. Not because they said anything profound, but because they carry a frequency that disrupts the illusion. You're not just a student of truth, you are a carrier of it. You are a living archive of divine intelligence. Let me ask you something that might challenge everything you think you know. What would your life look like if you stopped searching for purpose and started embodying the truth you already carry? What if your mission isn't something you need to find, but something you need to remember and live? The chosen ones are not born to follow maps. We are the map makers. And that map is drawn not with ink, but with energy, with the way we walk, speak, love, create, and lead. And every time we choose to act from our inner blueprint instead of societal programming, we etch a new path into the collective field. We don't just inspire others, we reprogram the grid. So if you felt the call, if you felt the codes stirring in your being asking to be unlocked, Know this, you're not crazy. You're not alone. You're early. You're one of the first waves. You're here to walk first so others can remember how. And each step you take deeper into your own blueprint is a step that reshapes the entire human story. From awakening to ascension, how chosen ones build the new earth by becoming their highest selves. There comes a point on the path of the chosen where awakening is no longer enough. You've remembered, you've healed, you've unlocked pieces of the blueprint, but now comes the most sacred phase of all, embodiment. Awakening is the spark, but ascension is the becoming. It's when the light you've discovered within doesn't just stay in your meditations or your journal entries, it begins to live through your every breath, through your choices, through your presence. You stop talking about vibration and become the vibration. You stop seeking purpose and embody the frequency of purpose itself. This is how we build the new earth. Not by waiting for a savior, not by escaping to another realm, but by anchoring heaven into this one. And that is the true mission of every chosen one. We are not here to leave the world behind. We are here to lift it, to infuse the old systems with new consciousness, to show by our very being that it is possible to live in integrity, in truth, in resonance with love, that embodiment is not glamorous, it's not always mystical, it's deeply human. It looks like choosing silence when the ego wants control. It looks like setting boundaries without guilt. It looks like loving without attachment, serving without seeking validation, and walking away from what no longer honors your truth. It's in the moment you catch yourself reacting and choose to respond from wisdom instead. It's when your life becomes the ritual, not just the moments you light a candle or pull a card, but the way you move through the world. And here's the paradox: the more you embody your highest self, the less you feel the need to prove it. The more you ascend inwardly, the more grounded you become outwardly. You don't float away, you root in. You become stable, clear, unshakable, because you're no longer living from the illusions of separation and fear. You're living from alignment, from the remembrance that you and Source are not separate, that every moment is sacred, and that every breath is a chance to transmit light. Building the new earth doesn't require a stage. It requires consistency. It requires you to bring your soul into the mundane, to infuse your work, your relationships, your conversations with presence, with intention, with truth. Every time you do that, you plant a seed, and those seeds, they grow, they ripple, they affect people who don't even know what ascension means, but they feel something different in you. They feel the coherence, the peace, the inner authority, and it awakens something in them. So let me ask you now, in the most honest and direct way possible, are you willing to stop waiting to be ready and start living as if your mission is already in motion? Are you willing to stop rehearsing your highest self and start being it? Flawed, human, radiant, and real. Because we don't need more awakened people who hide behind their healing. We need embodied leaders, frequency holders, architects of the new earth who lead not by force, but by frequency, who don't just speak of love, but radiate it, who walk into a room and shift it, not with noise, but with presence. You are ready. You've always been ready. Everything you've been through, the pain, the initiations, the breakdowns, they weren't detours, they were preparation. And now, the world is waiting not for your perfection, but for your authenticity, for your light, for your leadership. The new earth isn't a destination, it's a choice we make every single day to live from love, to act from truth, and to embody the divine blueprint we came here to activate. And when we do that, together, when chosen ones rise, not just in awareness, but in action, we don't just change history, we change reality.